I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers.
We are going to begin this hour with President Trump's agenda hitting some legal roadblocks. Multiple judges are stepping in to block some of the administration's efforts on everything from ending birthright citizenship to drastically downsizing the federal workforce. Today, millions of workers are facing uncertainty. A judge in Boston halted last night's deadline for a mass buyout program. The package, which offers employees pay and benefits in exchange for quitting their jobs, is now on hold pending a hearing on Monday.
A senior administration official tells NBC News more than 60,000 workers have already accepted the deal. Democrats argue that that money, though, is not guaranteed.
My fear is these folks are going to get scammed and then be the first to be fired because they've raised their hands.
It comes as we learn more about plans to gut two government agencies. Sources familiar with the plans tell us the U.S. Agency of International Development will go from having over 5,000 employees down to just 290 workers. Meanwhile, employees at the General Services Administration, they manage federal buildings and properties. They were told they will face a, quote, substantial staff reduction. To break this all down, we have NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos, also our White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist in Washington, who we will kick things off with. Aaron, good morning. So with this deadline for this federal buyout package now on pause, was supposed to be last night at midnight, what happens next and what is the administration saying?
So, Savannah, there's still a lot of confusion when we've talked to some employees, federal government employees, about this buyout program, this deferred resignation, as the government is calling it. They're still confused about what exactly will stick for them. At the same time, we've now seen more than 24 lawsuits filed against the Trump administration for various executive orders and executive actions and memos that have been signed by the president in the few weeks that he's been in office. In this particular case with this buyout program, an employee union for federal workers has sued the administration, saying that this buyout program violates federal law and that the president doesn't have the legal authority to offer this sort of a program. And so that's what's led to this court pause, this judge-imposed pause on that buyout program that should have expired last night. The administration sees this as an extension of the buyout program, more time for more people to opt into it. I want you to hear how the White House press secretary talked about this program from the White House yesterday.
If they don't want to show up to the office, if they want to rip the American people off, then they're welcome to take this buyout, and we'll find highly competent individuals who want to fill these roles.
She went on to say that we are grateful to the judge for extending the deadline for this program. They see it as Monday now being an opportunity for more people to buy in, guys.
So, Aaron, last night we learned the president signed more executive orders behind closed doors. One of them focuses on sanctions against the International Criminal Court. The other has to do with what the president calls anti-Christian bias. Tell us more about these.
Well, let's start with the ICC. Those sanctions against some officials at the ICC and their family members, these are financial sanctions. These are visa restrictions on their travel. You might remember that last year, the ICC issued a warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel. And President Trump, in signing this executive order, said that the court has targeted the United States and Israel unfairly. And as a result, he's now issuing these sanctions against the ICC. Of course, the ICC condemned this move by President Trump. And we should also point out, guys, that neither the United States nor Israel are signatories to the ICC's authority, and so they don't recognize it as being a lawful court.
Aaron, also before we go, let's talk about some confirmations here. The Senate voted along party lines, much like we've seen, to confirm Russell Vought as the next head of the White House Office of Management and Budget. Democrats unified against his nomination. This is someone who was one of the architects of Project 2025. So that's been described as sort of this blueprint for President Trump's second term, though he's distanced himself from it. But there's a lot of controversy here. What do we know about Vought and how he's expected to approach this role?
Well, we saw a dramatic vote in the Senate play out yesterday where you had Democrats, all of them standing up as the roll call was being done for this vote, trying to make speeches, which is not allowed during a vote of this nature. But they wanted to log their objections to Russell Vought becoming the director of the Office of Management and Budget. He has said in the past that he believes the director could play a powerful role in curbing spending of the federal government. He also has said in a questionnaire that was a part of the confirmation process that he believes the 2020 election was rigged. And so that gives some Democrats pause. and they are concerned that he would ignore the law in some cases and that he would cut funding to programs that actually help people. Republicans have said they believe he'll restore fiscal sanity to the federal government. Joe and Savannah.
All right, Aaron, we appreciate you kicking us off this hour. Thank you.
Let's get more analysis on what we heard from Aaron moments ago about that move by a federal judge in Boston to temporarily halt the president's government employee buyout program. NBC News analyst, legal analyst, Danny Cevallos is here. Do we know what the judge's reasoning was behind the temporary injunction right now?
Yes, it's really as simple as let's just wait. Let's get some more briefing in on the issue. Sometimes judges issue stays, but for a different reason, because they conclude that the one side is likely to win on the merits. That's not really what's happening here. This is more of just we need a couple days for everyone to get their briefing in. I've been looking on Pacer. There are documents filed by the dozens every day. This case has only been around for a couple days. So this case is moving very quickly. This really is just a pause without any kind of say or passing on the merits themselves.
Danny, from the perspective of the union that filed this lawsuit, what are they going to be arguing Monday?
A couple different things, but the main thrust is really twofold. It's that the Administrative Procedures Act bars this action because it's arbitrary and capricious. This is often a long shot argument, but they might have a case here because is there anything that feels more arbitrary or really random than this announcement, this rollout, where there are just so many questions that are unanswered. And I think OPM doesn't really know the answers to all of the questions. The second argument is what's called the Anti-Deficiency Act. And the argument there is that the government can't make these promises to people if the appropriations period ends March 15th or 14th. How can they make these promises out into the future beyond March 14th? Now, the administration's argument is, hey, people hire federal employees all the time beyond an appropriations period. We're basically just asking people to not work at all.
So with employees right now, there's just a lot of worry. People are wondering, do I take the buyout? If I take the buyout, will I actually get paid? If I don't take the buyout, am I just going to get fired a few weeks or months from now? So with all that in mind, are there other legal avenues for folks right now? Is this sort of legal action happening right now the main point? What are the possible scenarios?
Yeah, I'm also glad you bring that up because one of the administration's arguments is the reason they say this doesn't violate the Administrative Procedures Act is because it's not a final agency action. Now, listen to the reasoning here. They're saying we're not telling anyone to do anything. It's the decision they make. They're free to make a decision. But how free does that decision feel when you get an email that says, take this or your future is very uncertain. We have no idea what your job will be in the next few weeks. So that's going to be one of the arguments we're going to see front and center on Monday.
All right, Danny, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.